Hey guys, Ralph here. True Power Sports Talk. Here we are once again. It is so cold here in Connecticut. I go the last 2 miles. I went out for a run this morning. I usually go long on the weekends, 8 or 10, 12, whatever. And I went out 2 miles, and I'll tell you, I was completely covered up except my eyes. Okay, I should have worn goggles. And my eyebrows and my eyelids were completely frozen with ice when I got home. It's unbelievable. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But as you all know, the big national championship, Alabama and Georgia, are going to be Monday night. And this is not so much, I'm, betting on Alabama. I mean, that doesn't take a genius. I'm not a big college football guy. I told you my daughter went to Penn State, and last year. She's a freshman this year. And so all of a sudden, you have a horse in the race and you start following along. And I found it quite entertaining. The Big Ten is a terrific, terrific conference. And, Penn State, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State, they're all just really, really great games with enormous crowds and bands and everything. It's just, I know it's big business and I know it's silly, but it's almost like bula bula, college athletics the way it's supposed to be. Anyway, year after year after year after year after year, Alabama is considered number one. Okay, so again, it doesn't take great genius to have them. Las Vegas has them as a how many point leader, whatever. And you still have to play the game. There's no question about it. They lost once this year. They lost the title game last year. I mean, it's not a given, so it'll be fun to watch. But the fact of the matter is, year after year after year, Nick Saban, and I'll tell you what, man, he has, at 22 years, he has over 200 victories, as opposed to Joe Paterno, who after 46 years had a little over 400. So even though he's not way up, he's at number 60 on the all-time list. Okay, but he's literally coaching half the time that these other guys were coaching that are on top of the list. And also, many of the guys at the top of the list were not coaching big-time Division I schools. So you got to do that. But with that said, in half the time of these other coaches, he has 5 national championships. He should have won last year. He's probably going to win tomorrow, which means he ties Bear Bryant for the number 1 championships all time in half the time. I mean, guys, he's the best. He's just the best. He's certainly the best of this modern era. Urban Meyer, Harbaugh, I mean, God bless them. They all have their day in the sun. But when you look at the body of work, you can't, I mean, it's not even close. It's close in winning percentage, I guess, but really. Now, he took Michigan State and brought him to prominence with a school that he left, and they haven't sniffed anything of prominence since that time. LSU, he went down to a big program, won a national championship. Then he goes to Alabama and knocks off 4 national championships in what? I don't know how many years. I mean, he's just flat out the best. Now, the interesting thing that I do, it's more of a traditional ground and pound, we're going to beat you up philosophy, as opposed to these, Mike Leach and, Texas Tech and Oklahoma type of thing that's going to outscore you by 75 points. No, that's not what he does at all. It's very, very simple. He has a lock on most of the recruiting. But you notice he never has a quarterback that gives you gaudy statistics. He did have Richardson, I believe, won the Heisman Trophy a few years ago. But for the most part, his players are not sniffing the Heisman Trophy. Okay? They all go high in the draft, but they're not sniffing the Heisman Trophy. It's all the concept that he's doing. I'll tell you what. What he does is this, and it's very simple, and there's more to it than this, don't get me wrong. But he takes the biggest, baddest, nastiest recruits at every single position. Every single position. From quarterback to defensive back and everything in between. He takes running backs, big, strong, and tough. Okay? And what he does, simple. He redshirts them a year, So when they actually do get on the field, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're tougher than they were the year before. So they're actually not 18, 19-year-old kids at all by the time they get on the field. So it's these adults, many times, not all the time. I mean, in a lot of programs do the same thing. Many times, it's adults beating up on kids. But he just does that. Now, we know what happens on that year off. The training table, they get their shots of vitamins, right? We'll do that for another video. But they just come nasty, and they bludgeon you. They bludgeon you. All he wants the quarterback to do is not make a mistake. If his quarterback just hands off, does not fumble, and does not get an interception all year, he's happy. That's all he wants. As opposed to Bobby Petrino and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson wouldn't even start for Nick Saban. He might be a wide receiver. He might be a defensive back. But that's not what he wants. That's big, strong kids that don't make a mistake. And he bludgeons you. Now, with that concept, you have to have an extraordinary team to give them a game. And quite frankly, a handful of the teams, the LSUs of the world and the Floridas of the world and all this sort of stuff, they give them a half. But usually by the third quarter into the fourth quarter, they're toast, and they just run up and down this field and beat the crap out of it. It's old-time Vince Lombardi. We're going to line up, and we're going to beat you up. No trick plays. The field goals kicker never misses. Things like this. I mean, it's just very, very interesting the way he goes. Now, the cool thing is, well, I don't know how cool it is, but he had very little success in the pros. It was an absolute mess at the Miami Dolphins. And I'll tell you what, if we have one thing, we learned one thing since that time, it's that you look at the New England Patriots, and when you have a Saban like this, I mean a nut, guys that just plain knows more than most people and is willing to work harder than everybody on every aspect of the game. When you've got somebody like that, what you do, like you do in New England, you just let him run the show. You can call him president of operations, you can call him whatever you want, but the general manager, everybody works for him. At the end of the day, it's his decision. He wants a running back? Of course, the general manager says, I can get you the running back, but remember, we need a linebacker. We're not going to be able to afford it because, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, every single football decision is his. And if I'm owning a football team, absolutely, he would be the first guy that I bring in, give him partial ownership in the company, in the team. Can they do that, or is that against union rules? It might be against union rules. But the reason for that is you want to make it worthwhile for the guy to keep costs down at all costs, which Belichick does. I mean, he's never over the cap. And you let him do his thing. Everybody, whatever he wants to do, you say yes. You discuss it with him. And you talk about the salary cap. If I was running the Giants, New York Giants, he'd be the first guy I had in there and say, you do what you want. Okay? Gettleman seems like a good guy. And you know what? If he wins this year and ties Bear Bryant for the most national championships, he might just go. He might just go to the Giants. I'd take him in a heartbeat. Anyway, that's that. Surprise, surprise. Alabama's going to win the championship. Ooh. And you know what? You take this to the bank. If you want to know who really, really is the favorite in any athletic endeavor, you look at the Vegas odds. Those guys have a pipeline to everything. They know who's a drunk. They know who's hurt. They know who's getting a divorce. They know who has a gambling problem. They know who has a drug problem. They know everything. Because if they don't know that and they get the wrong line, they can get flushed. They are the real, you just look there, and that's the way to bet. It doesn't always come up because, like tomorrow, you got to play the game. Like last year, yes, you've got to play the game. But at the end of the day, look at the Vegas odds. And look at the winner. Look at the proven winner with the track record. You don't even look at the players in college. I got Nick Saban. Okay, anyway, that's it. We'll talk again tomorrow, and we'll discuss the game on Tuesday morning. Okay, love you all, guys. Eat your fruit and vegetables, and have a great, great day, and live your life with true power.